Good morning and welcome to the Killik & Co market update. The Brexit saga continues, and this week we had some data which really demonstrated just how negative the impact that all this uncertainty is having on the UK economy. The UK Services PMI number for March was published and it came in at a value below 50, which implies that the UK services sector is now contracting. As a reminder, the PMI numbers, or the Purchasing Managers Indices, are industry surveys that give an idea of whether a particular sector is expanding or contracting. Any score above 50 implies expansion, any score below 50 implies contraction. So have a look here at the PMI numbers for the UK services industry over the last few months, or in fact since January 2017. And as you can see, over the last few months those scores have been steadily falling as the Brexit situation has become more and more uncertain. Last month that number dropped below 50 for the first time. So for an economy that depends on services for over 80% of its revenue, this contraction does not bode well at all. We've noticed an increasing amount of focus on women's sports recently. Viewing numbers are rising, and there does seem to be quite a lot of excitement about the Women's FIFA World Cup, which is taking place this summer. So we've been having a look at some of the major sportswear brands and how they are capitalising on this opportunity for an increase in the sales of women's sportswear. This week, Adidas announced a tie-up with Beyoncé, and Nike has been allocating increasing amounts of floor space to its women's wear. If we have a look at the conference call that Nike had following its last set of quarterly results, the word women's was mentioned no less than 34 times. And here are a couple of quotes from Nike's last letter to shareholders. First of all, they said that the women's business is building momentum, and they also said that with the new collections that tap into sneaker culture for women, the Jordan brand, which is one of Nike's largest brands, nearly tripled the size of its women's sneakers business last year. So I think this really shows that if these major sportswear brands can sell as much to women as they're currently selling to men, they would all be in for quite a significant increase in sales. So this really is quite a significant future opportunity. And finally this week we've had a couple of bits of news from the oil sector. First of all, the Brent crude oil price hit $70 for the first time in 2019. And if you bear in mind that the oil price started the year around about the $55 per barrel mark, that really does show just how much the oil price has risen this year so far. So that's good news for some of the major integrated oil companies like BP, Shell and Total, most of whom have an average cost per barrel of oil of around about $50 per barrel. So at $70, those companies are all very profitable indeed. Elsewhere in oil news, Aramco, which is Saudi Arabia's state-owned oil company, has disclosed its financial situation for the first time in 75 years. And the company has disclosed that its net income for last year was $110 billion. And that makes it the most profitable company in the world. It shows that its net income is more than twice as much as Apple. So a really huge amount of profit there. And even though the world is moving away from fossil fuels, this really does demonstrate that there is a lot of money to be made from oil in the short term. Now moving on to the week ahead. First of all, it's the start of a new tax year, and we've also got a few companies reporting. So we are looking forward to results from Delta Airlines and JP Morgan Chase. That's it from us. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.